maybe a superstition. I will not go out of the house without wearing my St. Christopher medal. And regardless if I'm in formal dress or informal dress, I always wear my trout fishing belt. Well, I do like to go for rides on the motorcycle. Again, on the Victory, and just go for short rides with one of the girls on the back and take a look at the community. I like to run. I'm very strong in fishing. I was registered as a guide in northern Minnesota in Superior National Forest as a guide and an aide to a guide, Vince Eckroot, up north. And I still go up once a year for a week and fish on the Boundary Waters. And that's probably my top hobby, that every year I try to carve out 1 week to go north and running through the woods and do a little fishing. But I also exercise. I try to exercise to keep myself in good shape. All that fried food in Des Moines can take its toll on you. But and probably the biggest hobby is spending time with the family, if it's camping or taking them fishing or going on short vacations. My favorite book recently is probably God's Politics. And it is kind of about politics, but it was written by Robert Wallace, and the subtitle was The Right Has It Wrong and the Left Just Doesn't Get It. And so it was an interesting novel written by a former evangelical minister that kind of lays out the fact that both parties at this particular point in time have got it wrong, and there's something we need to do in the middle to come back and actually have a meeting of the minds and consensus, and to help move the state and country forward. And then, you know, the leisure reading again is more like Marley, more like rereading Zen for the 100th time, or any books I find on Clint Eastwood and some of the westerns that he made too. Being an ex-wrestler and not a very good wrestler, but I wrestled, and you have to lose weight to wrestle, and I also fought Golden Gloves for a couple of years. Is when you learn how to cut weight, then you learn how to appreciate almost any food that's in front of you. And my favorite food is probably grilled walleye.
No kidding.
Especially if you catch it yourself. Well, most of my heroes are real live people. John F. Kennedy, or even local heroes. There's a lot of people locally. I won't mention their name because they've asked me not to when I've done it before, but people that have done something for the community, and some of it's small, helped out a Little League team, or donated some land for park space. I think we have to look for heroes that are right next door to us. Superheroes, I always did like the Green Lantern, but I never quite understood how he functioned. But I think real heroes for real people are people that are right next door and do things to help your neighbor. But my favorite movie, is a Clint Eastwood movie, and that would be The Outlaw Josey Wales. I've seen it, my wife claims, at least 100 times. I'm sure it's a few more times than that. But The Outlaw Josey Wales for Western, and probably Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. TV is don't get to watch it very often, but when I do get to watch it for a half hour at a time, I usually try to structure it with my daughters. We're watching, is it American Idol? Is that the name of the show, with the singers? And then they like to watch a show on cable network called The Pickers. It's some people going out to farmsteads in Iowa and looking through the barns to find old antiques. So they enjoy that quite a bit too. So when I can, I like to sit and watch that with the family. My favorite subject in school, both in high school and for the first 2 years of college, was math. I enjoyed math, And in fact, I was a math major for 2.5 years before I changed my major to social work and social sciences. Train, because I think that's the future in Iowa. I think we need to look at rail, especially in the corridor north-south and the corridor from east-west, from Iowa City and the North Liberty area to Chicago. Scissors, because I think you can do more with scissors. You can cut paper and make projects from them. My wife and 2 daughters.
Fair enough.
We try to get the neighbors to take care of the dogs, but my earliest memory is I was about 4 years old, and the brick roads in downtown Cedar Rapids, the one-ways, were brick and made a funny sound in the car. And for whatever reason, I remember throwing my shoe out the window. And that my first memory is throwing the shoe out the window, police officer who directed traffic retrieving the shoe, and my father being rather upset with me for throwing the shoe out the window. I did have one near-death experience up north. We were canoeing portage in between lakes to fish, and a storm had come upon us rather quickly. And we wisely got off the lake and formed a circle around an iron grate on one of the islands. And it was lightning, and we had hunched low. And by gosh, lightning hit the grate. And so it knocked all of us backwards. And it was stunning, and you realize how close you are or not with God when you're out in the woods and lightning hits, and we were all stunned, and it took us a while to come around. And let's just say this, when we canoed back to where our truck was, I think you could almost ski behind our canoe because we were paddling away.